Hey, welcome back to the show. I'm glad you're here. We got a lot to talk about, but because I have a lot to talk about, excuse me, my allergies are so bad right now. There's going to be a lot of links in the comments because there's videos I want you to look at, and I've I just don't want my program to go very long. I want to value your time, so I want you. There's like at least two links in the comments below. I want you to look at. So we're going to be talking about new lockdowns, okay, with the Ingraham Angle, which is exactly how I feel about everything. Like her and I are on the same wavelength. Okay. So I want to talk about that. And then I want to talk about January 6th. That's a hot topic. It's all over the news media because they have nothing else to talk about. Because you can't trust the mainstream media. So they're spinning this thing about January 6th. And there's a video with Louder with Crowder, and he did such an amazing job. And he had the January 6th video against the Free Love Summer video. And which one was more violent? He has that back, like side to side, and you can see for yourself which one was more violent. So those are in the links below. We're also going to be talking about critical race theory. But before we do, I want to let you know, hey, you need protection. If you become ill or injured, excuse me, you need a way to keep bringing money in to your household so you don't go into bankruptcy and foreclosure, and I can help you. So click the link in the description to learn more. Essential oils is a great way to help your health. As a matter of fact, I'm diffusing 3 oils today to help with my allergies. It's a great way we could get off those medicines. You know, our pastor was just telling us that once he just changed his diet, he was able to help with his rheumatoid arthritis, and he was able to get off of so many medications, and now he feels better. Why? Because plants, because of food, because changing the way you think and changing the way you do. So essential oils could help you with that. So I want to talk about the critical race theory with you for just a moment. And I sure hope that there are people who are in the Democrat Party who are just like you and I. I hope that they listen to this program. And first of all, I want to say I'm not your enemy if you are on the left. I am not your enemy. I am a fellow countryman with you, and I value our Constitution, as I hope you would, and I value our freedoms. And so when my mind and my way of thinking is coming on that, in that way of thinking, if anything I personally feel is jeopardizing my freedoms, or if I feel like government is overstepping its bounds, then that's where my moral compass lies. So it's not me being against you, because I'm not against you. I see you as a friend. I see you as a fellow countryman. If I talk about the Democrats typically on my show, I'm talking about the establishment. I'm talking about the people in charge. I'm talking about the people who are trying to change your minds and my minds with propaganda TV. They like to call out names. They like to call people names to discredit them. These are things that the tools that they use. They want to call me systemic, right? That I'm a racist because I was born white. I can't help the skin color, just like you can't help your skin color. You were born the way you were born, and I can't change that. You can't change that. And what I love about little children is when they play together, they don't see color until they're trained to see color. They play with anyone and everyone. They play with kids who don't even speak the same language. I know that was me growing up. I grew up in an ethnic household, and I grew up with a lot of people that came here legally to the United States. And my father was one of them that came legally to the United States, which is a very hot topic right now. We can discuss that on another show. But I played with children who didn't speak English, and it didn't bother me because we were still playing. Somehow we just made it through. Like somehow we just figured it out how to play together, and we had a lot of fun doing it. And so if you are on the left, if you call yourself a Democrat, I want you to really look at critical race theory, and I want you to try to see it from my perspective, if you could. And one of the ways you could do that is by turning off the mainstream media for just a little bit and listening to what what I have to say and other people on YouTube have to say that look just like me and sound just like me, because we're not the enemy. And I have a feeling that you are against racism. The Democrat Party says they're against racism, but the critical race theory is being pushed by the Democrat Party. And you and I, as parents, we've been trusting the school board and their school systems that we pay for, you and I, out of our own paychecks. Like everything the government does with our money, they're doing it with our money. Like I don't agree with a lot of the ways they're using my money. And frankly, I sometimes get to a point where I just don't want to give them any money. And then if that happens, then, that's a whole nother issue. But I just don't feel like they deserve to have my money because they don't use my money in a right way. And so right now in the school systems across the nation, and this has been happening for a long time, and parents are just now finding out about it, is they're training children from the time they're preschool all the way until they graduate college that, and before I say this, I honestly think some of these people truly believe in what they're preaching. Like, I think it's almost like a weird religion. Okay. So not all these people by nature are bad. I just think they really believe in something that's not correct. And it's like a religious belief to them. But critical race theory basically says to kids that you have to look at their skin color. And some people are just bad because of their skin color. That's the premise of it. And I want you to look into, if you're a parent, look into the education that your kids are receiving. See the curriculum for yourself, because I have a feeling you and I are going to be on the same page with this indoctrination, that I don't think you or I want our children to see people for color, but we want them to see the content of someone's character, like Martin Luther King Jr. talked about. That's important to me. I like people based on the content of their character, or I dislike people based on the content of their character. I do not like people who are jerks. I do not like a-holes. I do not like liars and manipulators. I do not like people that always bring drama to the table. Like, I don't like that stuff. I like to laugh. I like to have fun. I like kind people, generous people. I like, good people. That's who I like. And that's who I want to associate myself around. And I want my kids to like people because they're good people, not because the color of their skin. And so I think you and I can both agree, even if we're on, if we have different designations next to our name. I think that's important for Americans in general. I do not believe in the lie of systemic racism. And on my program, I have kind of demolished that theory that we have systemic racism. Does racism exist? Absolutely, because that's a sin. God said that, we're all sinful. And the only way that we get free of that is, through Jesus dying on the cross. But we won't be completely free until we go to heaven. But Jesus dying on the cross helps break that old person inside of us, and we become a new creation. And I really, truly think God's hand is truly moving in our nation to expose things that we did not know existed. And hatred is one of those things. Like, God hates people who hate people. Like, he hates that part of people. Like, he loves the person, but he hates that sin part of, he made everybody and he made everyone in his image. And when he made every single human being, he sang over that person. He knit them together in his mother's womb. He designed every aspect, that personality, the hair, the eyes, everything. And he rejoiced over them with singing when he created them. They're special to God. And if they're special to God and I'm a follower of God, then I have to think everyone deserves respect until you as a person acts like a jerk. And then I'm like, okay, I don't have time for you. I want you to listen. This was from Newsmax TV of what this mother did in a school board meeting. Check this out. Check this out. It's going to be a long clip, guys, but it's worth every second of it. Okay.
So a friend emailed me over the weekend a link to a video saying, you've got to watch this. And I did. And I am so glad I did. I've been waiting for somebody like this, for a moment like this. The video was of Tatiana Ibrahim. Now, she is the mother of a young girl who goes to public school in Putnam County, New York, north of New York City. Tatiana goes before her local school board and she strikes back. She strikes back at the insanity of critical race theory. She strikes back at the insanity that some schools are teaching hatred of police officers. She strikes back at the insanity of cancel culture. Now, ordinarily, we would take a video like this and splice it up into a couple of sound bites. I can't do that right now. You've got to watch it in its entirety. If I could show you Paul Revere's speech, I would not cut it up. So it's about 10 minutes long. I think it's worth every second. I think you're going to like it. I think you might be inspired by it. Tatiana Ibrahim before her local school board in Putnam County, New York.
Good evening. My name is Tatiana Ibrahim, and I'm here for the first time. I'm here tonight not only as a community member, but as a parent in this district. Recently, you sent out a survey wanting to know why parents were not voting yes for this budget. So my situation, my vote for no is a little different. I think the Board of Education and those sitting on the panels are thieves. I think they're liars and have committed treason against our children. My message to this district and the members of the Board of Ed: stop indoctrinating our children. Stop teaching our children to hate the police. Stop teaching our children that if they don't agree with the LGBT community, that they're homophobic. You have no idea each child's life. You don't know what their family lifestyle consists of. You don't know the makeup of their life. You have children like mine who is Muslim, and I'm Christian, and everyone would think, they would never believe that of her, right? Because the way she looks, or according to Miss Cyrus, she's too pasty white.
We're not allowed to use names. If you have something you'd like to discuss about a specific person, you can call the superintendent or leave your info for her to call you tomorrow.
Why are we not allowed to discuss names? Why am I not allowed when they purposely themselves expose themselves on social media, talking about calling for the death of a former president, or saying that any child that doesn't believe in Black Lives Matter should be canceled out? Is this what my tax dollars is paying for? You're teaching my children and other children that if they believe in God Almighty, they're part of a cult. These educators put their own names out there. We have Mr. Berry, who took it upon himself with Miss Cyrus to create a curriculum.
That should be it.
Do you want the proof? I have the proof. You created a curriculum of Black Panther indoctrination.
Ma'am,
You use taxpayers'
can I
dollars.
ask you one more time? I have no issue hearing what you have to say, but
Why can we not let the public speak? Why can't we let the public know that you're teaching our children to go out and murder our police officers? Do you want the proof? I have the proof. Is that what scares you, the proof? That a parent actually standing up against all of you? Is that what scares you, to call out the names of these people? You work for me. I don't work for you. You have a duty. We are entrusting our children to you. We teach our children morals, values when they grow up to commit crimes and end up in prison and kill a police officer. It's our fault? No, it's your fault. You're emotionally abusing our children and mentally abusing them. You're demoralizing them by teaching them communist values. This is still America, ma'am. And as long as I'm standing here on this good ground earth of God, I will fight. And this is not the last of me you will see. I'm retired. I have nothing else better to do. We can do it peacefully, or we can take it to the highest courts, because you know and I know I'm not the only parent fighting this all across America right now. Schools are trying to poison our children's minds, teaching them about things that they have no right to be taught in school.
So
So
normally, no, I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna just give you just a feedback for a moment. I have no problem having a peaceful discussion. This is not a peaceful discussion.
no, that's your opinion. See, here we go again. This is peaceful. To me, this is peaceful.
Well,
I'm not burning, looting, and murdering. This is peaceful.
I did not accuse you of that, but I don't have a problem having a conversation with you, a peaceful conversation, which is, this is not.
$6.95 per child in the middle school to buy a curriculum from readtome.org that wasn't even approved by the Board of Ed. The administrators took it upon themselves to buy these books with taxpayer dollars while COVID is going on. How many families are struggling to pay their mortgages? Listen, by all means, you want to teach kids these things, fine. Don't do it on my dollar. Don't infringe on my religious beliefs. Don't infringe. Do you know who makes up the majority of this district? Children from police officers' families. Blues, back the blue children. Do you know what these children feel like when they come home? Have you spoken to them? No, you're silencing them. This whole cancel culture, you're silencing the children. Where are their rights? They have no rights. Because if they don't believe in the indoctrination, the demonic, twisted, sneaky, vile acts and education, if you call it that you're teaching our children, they don't agree with that. They're either homophobic, they're part of a cult, they're racist. What's racist? Who defines racist? Why? Because do you know what race I am? Do you? You don't. You don't even have an idea. I could be black, I could be white, I could be Asian, you don't know. Who are you to determine that? Who is anyone to determine that? You know what? Children in the school system, children like other children, they don't look at color. Black and white children, Hispanic children, you know why they get along? Because they don't look at each other's color. So you're the racist, not them, not us. You're judging and dividing. You're causing segregation. Everything that we fought for, everything that I fought for years. So you have the right to stand here and tell me I'm not allowed to mention a name when the person, the Mr. Barry and Miss Cyrus themselves, you have ELA teachers giving out assignments on police murder. Police are bad. You want the proof?
Okay.
Because we have it.
So
What policy do you have that teachers are not allowed to go on social media and indoctrinate? They took an oath, a responsibility, and they're going against everything that they stand for.
well, I understand.
End it? End it? I have to end it?
So
Why? Why? You're on my dollar. Why?
Well, actually,
Why?
I work for nothing doing this.
Oh, you work for nothing. Oh.
I do. This is a volunteer position, number one.
It's
Number
still
two-
my taxes paying for everything.
I hear
This
what you're
podium is every taxpayer's dollar here. We have rights. We have rights.
And you're making general assumptions.
No, I'm not making assumptions. I'm not.
because you
I
just-
know what I'm speaking about. See,
what?
I don't
I'm not-
agree
I'm not
with you,
gonna
so it's an
engage.
assumption.
Well, I'm not going to engage in a back and forth with you about this. So if you would like to make an appointment, I would be happy to sit with the superintendent.
I don't
and have a
want to. The
conversation.
superintendent, the assistant superintendent already sent an email and stated that they had no idea that these books were being put in the students' hands. The superintendent already stated that they had no idea that the funds of taxpayers were supporting this. Black Panthers, do you know Black Panthers is a domestic terrorist group? Do you know that it was condemned as a terrorist group? Do you know they kill cops? I have a problem when you're trying to kill a police officer. I have a big problem with that. I have a problem when teachers are passing out flyers, recruiting children to go to the courthouse, to protest Black Lives Matters, when you have people sitting with signs that says all cops are bastards. Really? all cops are bastards. No, I think you people are, because the way you're acting and the way you're treating our children and our police officers and making them believe that it's okay to abuse them, I'll be damned if I'm going to sit here and let you do that. I will become your worst nightmare, because I'm going to stand here and keep fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting. And if not, I can actually go out, get signatures. What happens if we stop paying school taxes? You're going to arrest all the community? The majority of the community? No, I don't think so. This won't be the last of me. I want everyone to know what's going on, because you're hiding it. You're hiding it. You know who does that? Communists do that. That's what you're doing, recruiting children. Children. You're recruiting children to hate our police officers. How dare you? You have a librarian in the high school passing out Black Lives Matter pins. When a student asks for a blue live, why would I have that? Why would she have that? What did you do for police week?
How?
Why don't you tell me, sir? What is it you want to tell me?
You've had your 2 minutes.
I don't need 2 minutes. I can go as long as I like.
No, that's not the board.
No? Oh. Where does it say that I can't? Is there a law against that?
We do have a policy.
A board policy. Who makes these board policies?
The board.
The board. And who pays the board?
No one.
Nobody.
Nobody? The chair you're sitting on, we pay for it. The lights that are on, we pay for. We pay for everything. You want to silence me because I spoke the truth. I spoke the truth. Everyone out there heard me. Whether they agree or they don't, they're going to start looking into it. And now you're exposed. That's all. It's going to end. This indoctrination and hatred towards our police officers, the systematic racism and cancel culture, it's going to end. You came to the wrong school district to do this, okay? You need to respect every child. So therefore, no politics should be discussed in school, rather it be conservatism, democratic, liberalism. You gave a survey after the elections. Why? Why did you ask students who they voted for? What did it matter? No answer, huh? You have no answers for me. I didn't expect an answer. That's okay, though. We'll get them some way or another. Same way you can't show us where all our money goes, right? Yeah, that's what I thought.
She had a good point. I mean, so many good points there. For one, I think even if you are a Democrat by name, I think you would agree with me that school should be apolitical, meaning they only teach reading, math, science. Did you know they're taking out the scientific method out of education in the public school systems, at least in some places here in the US? How do you know how to come up with a theory and test that theory if you don't know the scientific method? You should be learning these things in school. Politics has no place in school because politics doesn't teach a child how to read. Or it shouldn't. You shouldn't have to teach a child how to read a political article, okay? If you want to do this, you do this in a poli-sci class in college, okay? In elementary school, you don't do those things. You teach them 1 + 1 = 2. You teach them the scientific method. How do you solve a problem? You have a theory. How do you test your theory? So I would guess that my friends who call themselves Democrat would say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We don't need politics in the school. And we don't need to teach racism in the school. It's not just about anti-cop, but it's about hatred for one another because of something that you can't change on your own. So a lot of things that are happening in my state is a lot of parents are starting to go to the school board meetings and making their voices heard. She was not doing anything wrong in that video. She was not, she was being peaceful, because if she wasn't being peaceful, she could be like the Summer of Love, where they lit everything on fire and they shot people to death and vandalized things. She could have done that. She could have thrown chairs at them. She could have brought a gun and held them hostage. She could have done those things, which aren't peaceful. She was just letting her voice be heard because she's frustrated that the school that she trusted her kids with are indoctrinating them into communism. And in a video I have in another video, I talk about how communism uses racism and focuses on the color of your skin. That's a very, very productive tool that communists use to change people into being a communist country. They use racism. They use the color of their skin. They pit you against one another. That's what they do. The whole thing, if you look at what's going on in the mainstream media, when they call us by name and we find out that the people who are these conspiracy theorists were actually right, that the China virus was made in a lab, and that Dr. Fauci himself said masks don't prevent the spread, and that in Dr. Fauci's email, it said children weren't getting COVID. And one of the emails asked the question, and this is where a scientific method would have came in. Is it because children are just newly vaccinated, that the vaccines are strong in the children's body? Do we need to explore giving parents or adults boosters of already vaccines that they've had as children? See, this was in Dr. Fauci's email. This is where the scientific community could have been like, that's a good theory. Let's look into it. And we could do that by using the scientific method that they're not teaching in a lot of schools these days. That's science, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, we have this problem. We have an idea of, could this be the solution? Let's check out the solution. But what we found out, these long-term ivermectin and that other medicine that has been used for decades and decades and decades successfully for a lot of viruses were helping. The frontline doctors were actually prescribing it, and it was helping a lot of people. But whoever was in charge said, no, those are horrible medications. We should never give that to them. And we shouldn't tell people about vitamin D either. Vitamin D, oh my gosh, it's in nature. We can't make money off of that. We can't control people. If they knew, if they stood in the sun or took a vitamin D pill, that their bodies would miraculously do what God intended their bodies to do, and that's to heal itself. We couldn't hear about that. We were silenced. I am not your enemy, friend. I am not your enemy. I just am trying to use my First Amendment right, and that's my freedom of speech, to give another point of view. But my freedom of speech is being canceled in this nation, and that should scare you. You don't have to believe me, and I'm not asking you to believe me. I'm asking you to defend my right to say it, because it's my First Amendment right to give another opinion, so we can be in the general square and share ideas with one another and see what's the best idea out there in the general square. But when my voice gets canceled, then that really hinders society. It hinders us from science and investigating with the scientific method. It hinders people from getting a second opinion of something they might not have thought of on their own, but it was a really good idea when someone else said it. Made a lot of sense to them. I'm sorry that the show went long. I wasn't intending it to go long, but there's just so much out there, folks. And I just want the divide to end. I want us to all enjoy the freedom that God gave us in this country. I do not like children being indoctrinated into hatred. And I don't think you do too. I really don't. I'd like to hear your comments below, what you think. Like, share, and subscribe. I'd appreciate that. And make sure you click the links below, because the show is going to be a lot longer had I not done that. All right, take care.